Hello everyone, MTDCNC Uncut. This is exciting. We've not done this one before, have we?
Brand new.
Yeah. We've got Paul, we've got Joe, and we've got Tom in the studio. It's a nice day today, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sunshine.
The weather's been horrendous, but it's good to get some clear skies, isn't it?
Bit of sunshine.
Albeit cold. I go walking every night at the moment, and actually we haven't had much rain, I don't think, in recent weeks. Every evening.
I'll swap
Probably where
if
you
want.
live in Sheffield.
I'll swap.
But yeah, good place to start, sunshine.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think actually to start with, I want to start with Trump because, yeah, that's quite a topic of conversation at the moment, isn't it?
Well, you either love him or you hate him. There's nobody in between.
No, that's true.
That's what I always find. I think you always, ever since he got elected, and even in the build-up, you were never quite sure on what way someone would lean. And I've found that so fascinating in recent weeks to go into rooms with people, even family and friends and work colleagues, and you're like, okay, if we talk about this guy, which way are they going to go? Do they like him? Do they loathe him? And I haven't been able to second guess anyone as to which way they would be. I've been amazed at how some people have been so anti him, the people that I would have thought might have been pro, and vice versa. I know we've done a lot of Teams calls recently with the US as we do, and I know you have as well, Lindsay. And there's nothing from their side. It seems to be positivity. It's manufacturing's going to be great. Everything's going to be made here. Yeah. You know, it's America. You know, so it's just hard to know which way people sit on it. And from where I can see it at the moment, I look at it and I think there's a lot of positivity around it. But I'm sure people would shoot us down in flames for saying that.
Yeah.
I
find the same. This week I've had four or five Teams calls. Of course, you mention it, you have to, and 3 have said, yeah, love it, can't wait, it's brilliant. And the 4th one said, I think the bloke's a bit of a plonker, but he's going to be amazing for this country, which probably is the most important thing, you would think, isn't it? But it has to be good for manufacturing, doesn't it? You know, put in, not necessarily here for the UK, but certainly for the American, which is what he should be bothered about, putting tariffs and increased taxing on things. And as you reshore, maybe we could learn from it, I don't know. But the interesting thing to me, you've got the UK USA divide, haven't you? Whereas is it Lord Mandelson's obviously our ambassador for America, and it doesn't look like they get on, does it? So it's going to be an interesting one. Traditionally,
what about what our Prime Minister used to say about him? Have you seen all those things on social media?
Trouble with social media, it's there for a while, isn't it?
You just have to be so careful. Don't like him, this man, and all the rest of it. And now, obviously, it's comical in some.
He's a businessman, though. That's the difference, and that's why, like, he put all of these oligarchs at the front and all of the people who have done business, and I think that's never been done before.
Makes a lot of sense, though, doesn't it?
It depends how you want to run, it depends how your party wants to run a country. Do you want to run a country like a business, or do you want to run a country unlike a business? And I run a business, and I think that when you run a business, you're conscious of costs. You're conscious of making money so you can reinvest. So those kind of that sort of philosophy for me should work well in how you run a country, and it will make for interesting.
It's disruptive if nothing else, and we're following suit here to a certain extent. Obviously, with the reform, which is probably the closest equivalent here in the UK. When you look at neck and neck with Labour, pretty much, aren't they, in the polls? And they're a couple of years old, but less than that as a serious organisation. So it's interesting times, I say, with the Mandelson thing and what have you.
But did you see Musk's speech when on the day of inauguration, or whatever they call it, when he stood up, and obviously there's real controversy about some of the actions he made, but you just look at him coming in, and I don't know, it was just pumped. That's the way you could look at it. It seems like the US is pumped. And are we pumped here? Change. Yeah, they do. Are we pumped? I know Tom's been pumping iron, but does that mean everybody's pumped?
Well, if we can bring it back to a bit more
iron brew
machining, please. I'm not one for politics. I'll leave you guys to that. But even in manufacturing, you see companies who are like really stoked he's in, who are thinking he's going to make big change, help America. What is it? Make America great again, all that. And there's one video we've really got to talk about, and it's from Titan. Have you seen? They've machined a Donald Trump head, and it is absolutely unreal. Just the amount of detail now they've machined it is absolutely brilliant.
Have you got it?
So I've got it. I can show it you.
Yeah, go on, show it.
I'm sure people can find it on social media.
If you find their channel, it's on there. But I'm just thinking that they've now machined a Donald Trump.
How long did it take to machine?
I don't know, because I haven't watched all the way through. I've skipped it through because I just wanted to see what it looked like. But the finishing, the whole part is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And I hope to God, and I'm sure I've read somewhere they're going to try and give it to him.
Good.
Yeah. And I think if they gave it to him, it might just show him how good manufacturing can be.
How integral manufacturing is.
And I want to see what they do next.
Yes.
Because they've called it their biggest and most important CNC project ever. Now, that's a bold statement. I want to see where they go from there.
Keir Starmer, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, that maybe Elon Musk, if they did
Maybe.
one of Elon Musk as well.
Maybe.
That's a surefire way to get yourself, up the rankings, isn't it?
Yeah.
With these people.
And if you can.
do we need to make one of, I don't know, Diane Abbott, Keir Starmer, Rachel Reeves, maybe?
David Lammy, isn't he the
Yeah.
Foreign Secretary? He would be a good one.
Well, I think if you just get me a machine, and I'll make the most influential person you can ever make. Paul Jones.
Yay! There's a race.
That's a good time.
Right,
good time to move on, I think.
I'm just saying, there's not much hair, so it'd be quite a nice, smooth finish. Anyway.
But it's interesting because when we contrast it to UK situation, obviously we had the statement yesterday from Rachel Reeves, and we're all looking for that positive, investment in a manufacturing strategy, an industrial strategy. It was a blow with the budget. There's no question, and anybody can try and defend, some of the things she did to invest maybe in public services and all the rest of it. But the reality is, it's hit businesses big time, and we see it. Confidence with people was. They will look forward to the autumn statement, look forward to a budget which will give you incentives to grow businesses, will give you, tax breaks, because that's how, in my belief, you grow an economy. And to hit with the tax hikes as she did, I think it started off things really badly, and then she's introduced these things yesterday. And this isn't an anti-Rachel Reeves things, but half of those things that she talked about, the Oxford to Cambridge line, they're already already start construction this year. The Pennine route as well.
Yeah.
So interesting times for us here.
It is interesting times. She's hinting at more tax, isn't she? So whether that's April in the budget or whatever, I don't know. But that's the last thing that we want. But she's talking about turning the Oxford area into the Silicon Valley of the UK, whereas when there's a lot of taxation to start a business, very little funding. Certainly on the AI side, that uses an inordinate amount of electricity. We've got one of the most expensive electricity in the world. When these companies tend to, sell companies, and there's no entrepreneurial relief anymore. So it's a difficult pitch, I would say. And unless the government are going to go cap in hand with a big check saying, please come, it's going to be a tough sell.
It does make me question, do these people... Do they live in the surrounds that we do? Do they work with the type of people that we work and understand really what people want? I mean, the Heathrow expansion is obviously another big point. And I was listening to a radio debate last night, and there was a guy came on and he said, look, what instead of doing it at Heathrow with all the controversy and the mixed opinions of people changing their minds and all the rest of it, which happens a lot, why don't they do it in Birmingham instead? If they did it in Birmingham, then... that would give argument to continue the HS2 and from Manchester to Birmingham, also expand that as an economy.
Or Ludlow, that'd be great.
The north and south divide. Certainly make it easier for you guys to jump on a plane. But they were saying, but the airlines wouldn't swallow that. They want to.
Sadiq Khan would like that.
I'm sure he would. Yeah. Well, he's been opposed to it, hasn't he, all along? But yeah, and so anyway, that's politics aside. It'd be an interesting few months ahead.
Sure. Yeah, we've got quite a few interesting and exciting stories as well ourselves, haven't we? So, really any goss, what's going on in the UK, something positive, because that's what we want. We want something positive, don't we? We want to hear jobs, we want to hear investment happening. So anyone got anything?
There's a few, isn't there?
Yeah.
Rolls-Royce, I think up to 1,000 new jobs on the nuclear side. They've got a large multi-billion pound deal with the MOD for the latest submarines and things like that. But that's the one that comes to mind. I know Tom wants to talk about the Sheffield Forge Masters one. That's a big one as well. There's a few in the northeast, as always is. It seems to be like a hub up there. So there's plenty of positivity.
Why are we so negative? Why are we so negative?
Well, we sadly we haven't had, I don't believe, a government in time that has supported our sector in making us, we talk about how much the GDP of manufacturing is and how important it is to our economy, but we're not. we're assembling a lot of stuff here. We're not actually machining it. We're not making it. We're still going to other economies to do that. And by doing that here, we'd introduce more investment in machinery, longer term contracts, enable people to invest. Then they can invest in automation. At the moment, it's very, very difficult for manufacturers to be able to predict the future, to be able to invest in kit that they need to invest to make themselves competitive. So really, that's probably where our problems kind of lie, I guess.
Yeah, it's piecemeal, isn't it? As a business, not so much us, but as a manufacturer, hundreds of thousands, millions, tens of millions, quite often this investment, or billions in some of the larger companies. And you do need that. You need that longevity. You can't look 3 years ahead. You need to look 10, 15 years ahead. And I guess whilst there's a lot of question marks around the economy and investment, it's not that straightforward, is it? But there are lots out there. British Steel, they're opening up their first place in 30 years. It's the biggest investment in 30 years in the northeast. That's an interesting development. Obviously, British Steel or the bad news they had last year. That's a positive.
Well, another problem is, obviously, we talk about all these big companies that are having these problems, but obviously I came from a family-run machine shop. I still talk to my father-in-law. Can't really say I don't. And we were having a discussion.
I guess you're still married then.
And we were having a discussion over Christmas, and he was saying the amount of companies that have gone since Christmas this year is just ridiculous. Like when you're talking about the small, and he was saying like the problem you've got is it's just crisis after crisis. So we had the bankers crash, we've had COVID, we've had all the new taxation stuff, and the problem is it's like these
Brexit.
people, Brexit, we've had Brexit, these people who have gone for 30 years, and it's like we've had this problem, that problem, and it's like, do you know what? I've been through it. I just can't be bothered anymore. I'll sell all my assets. I'll sell my building. I'll give me enough to survive. That's it. And the problem is there's nothing coming from high above, from the government. There's nothing there to say, oh, no, wait a minute. Actually, we know what you've gone through. We know the problems. We'll give you a hand just to get you back on your feet. You just need a bit of hope. And we've been to a few companies who have said, look, I went to a company a few weeks ago, and I was talking to him about it. And he said, look, if it wasn't for my children, if I wasn't trying to keep this thing going to give my children and my grandchildren, he said, he said, December had rolled around, I'd just shut the doors and gone, no, that's it. He says, because it's just problem after. We just need some positivity. We need some help.
There are people started. There's a lot of startups still within manufacturing too, which we can't ignore, and that's a really good thing. Young people are. I mean, I've seen on social media, so like Mike Jordan that you went to see the other. Companies like that are starting up. They're ambitious, and I think, with the greatest respect, I think when companies maybe have been in business 30 or 40 years and they've seen good times and bad times and a lot of change, perhaps the energy isn't quite there now to be able to compete at a level that they need to. But with some businesses, there's still some really successful businesses out there that we see. So yeah. It's the start of 2025. The sun's shining.
Exactly. It's easy to be negative, isn't it? I think the modern day startup, whether it's a machine shop or whatever, does tend to be more dynamic, doesn't it? I don't think if you're starting a machine shop today, I still think you can make really good money, but you're not going to have 10 machines and 10 human beings. You're going to have 4 machines doing the work of 10 with 1 human being. And I think maybe, I don't know the company you're talking about, but potentially they've got 10, 20 machines and they've got too many overheads to spindle hours, basically, which is almost a broken business model now to a certain extent. So need to invest in more automation, all the things you talk about all the time here.
We need more Alex Hodgson. So I went to a Alcon Precision based in Northampton, so not far from here actually, and he's 27. He's certainly experienced and is experiencing highs and lows of life. He literally bought his house and his house fell down and he's had to rebuild it all. Like, he's gone through.
Puffed and he puffed.
I did a podcast with him actually, but what we need is more people like him. He's 27. He will work day and night to make something work. He is a true engineer at heart. He's got so much passion from engineering that was passed down from his father. And he's 27. He's got a really good job, but I can honestly say his energy and his time, you don't meet people like that every day. And you need the youth, really, and you need people like him who are true engineers to help grow. And without that extra enthusiasm, sadly, these companies that do go, I can't do it anymore. It's going to happen. We need more people like him.
Yeah, he's on a journey. I think every individual is almost on like a journey. And if you start a business and you run a business at the start, you have unlimited energy, but you have limited opportunity. Towards the end of your sort of tenure as you get, you'd like to think you have less energy, but maximum opportunity, because that's what you grow a business for. If you don't have that at the end, you are going to have limited resource in terms of it's natural, it's human behaviour. So youngsters getting into industry, that's what we need, and we need new businesses that are thriving, and I guess older generation people to invest in those young people to run their companies for them, because they will have the energy.
When you go on jobs, though, and you meet people like that, they stay with you, don't they? There's certain people that I know that I've done jobs with, and you just pick up on the passion. You go, you're going to do well, you are. You can see it, don't you, straight off the bat.
And a lot of that comes down to nothing is too much, right? Doesn't matter what time of the morning it is or what time of the night it is. There's never that kind of, oh, really? Do I have to? If there's any of that, forget it. Everything has to be, I'll do that. I'll do it now for you. And I'll do the best I can for you. And nothing's too much. If you've got that kind of attitude, that's the biggest thing you need in anything, in my mind.
Definitely. Yeah. Anything else that anyone's been seeing that they kind of want to shout out about? Something positive, guys. Come on, we've got to be positive.
Well, we've been, people hopefully will have seen it. We visited Grob recently and did the next episode of the Man Versus. But talking about positivity, we did the Man Versus before it, number 2. And obviously it's all about vices, but it's not. It's like, let's test this vice. Let's see if we can break it. I quite like that. Had good fun. The guys at Mills were brilliant. The video did well, and Bison have actually sold some vices from it.
Oh, that's good.
So what you actually tested on the vice, so you're basically putting a vice in the machine.
Essentially, as if you were going to run it. So the guys at Mills designed this really nice part, and it was actually the logo of a DN Solutions machine, a DVF 5000, and we machine it, and then we record like all the machining process, but we don't slow it down. We don't take little cuts to make it look good. We run it as if a machine shop was running it. So you've got a piece of aluminium 7075 stuck out 150 mil, held on 3 mil, and we are high feed drilling it right on the end. So we are trying to get that out of the vice. We are trying to break it. Don't get me wrong, we were there all day. We did multiple parts. It never moved. It really worked, and it was really impressive.
And I guess for a vice manufacturer or supplier, that's what they want their customers to see, isn't it? They want their customers to see how strong the grip is, how short a bit of material they can hold on. I guess how quick they can clamp and unclamp, and the accuracy of it.
Yeah, and like the quick point plates, how fast can I get that vice off and this vice on? How much downtime do I need to get this machine up and running? And is this vice when you've got it? Like, there's so many 3-axis vices out there because you sat doing one thing, but once you start flipping that part around and doing different orientations, is my vice going to be able to hold it? Is my vice going to, if I've got to drill a hole at a silly angle at 100 mil away from the actual vice, is it going to pull it out? So yeah, like you said, it's people like to see what it could do. Like, how many times do you buy something without going on YouTube or TikTok?
Yeah.
How many times do you go on TikTok and buy something, but after you've watched it work?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So we've done that, and then the next one's coming out quite soon, hopefully, and this one was at Grob.
Was it upside down?
We did complete upside down machining,
Tighten
which is just.
Properly,
So did you have to turn the camera upside down?
Yeah, so it's all filmed. It's all filmed 3-axis. We just flip the camera.
Can I just say, look at Tom's face. He gets paid to do this.
Do you know what?
Just see.
Dream job. Dream job.
It's going to have a reduction this month wearing that shirt.
Sorry about that. Well, do you know what? Anybody's under a reduction wearing any shirt in the Premier League if it's not Man United. Anyway, but one of the best things about it was only the second time I'd ever visited Grob.
Okay.
I'd only ever been there once before, and that was for their open house with you, Paul, and Dan. And I've interviewed Dan from Grob, and honestly, he'd only been there. He's only been there a year, just gone.
Good engineer, though.
But he'd only been there 6 months before he programmed this part, and it just showed how quick and easy he could get up and running with it. Don't get me wrong, he's used CAD-CAM before, but he'd never used Hypermill. So then he's got to learn hypermill.
Yeah.
And what I found really good about the demo is he didn't. If you give me and Joe the same part and said machine it, mine would be right, Joe's would be wrong. But we would both machine it completely different. It doesn't matter. You could put 5 machinists in a row, give them all the same part. They will all machine it differently. It's just how it is. So to make the demo look really cool, he'd done 4 pockets machined 4 different ways.
Okay.
So it was like he was really programming it for the machinist to show what it could do, and it was just unreal. And then
Are you trying to break something? Are you trying to push it? That's what I want.
What we're trying to do, we're not essentially we try and break it, yes, but we're not. What we're trying to do is we're trying to put it under maximum stress. So what we want to show is that if you get that vice, there is no part you can't do in it.
Okay.
So what we don't want to do is go, here's a vice, and go, oh yeah, but you can only make these parts. You can only use aluminium. You can't. Where we go, no, look what we've done with it. We've machined it upside down. We've got U-drills hitting it. Anything you could use, we've done to try and show you that. And that was only using one of their smaller vices. That was the Macro Grip 125. So that's one of Lang's actually smaller vices. And I actually found out something, and I want to put you to the test.
Is
if
it
you know
about
this.
the villa? Was Carl
No.
and Paul there talking about the villa?
Is it about eggy trousers?
No, it's not. Anyway.
Check.
Now,
That's all right.
with a Lang vice, obviously you've seen the teeth, and they do the stamping unit first, so you can stamp the block before you put it in the vice. When you put a part in a vice, normally, what would a normal machinist do before they start machining it?
You take it up to a stop, and you would torque up your vice. Tom.
Exactly, yeah.
Or you'd hit it with a hammer.
That's it. So you would hit. That's where I was going with this.
Yeah.
You would hit it with a hammer, because
You would.
you're told that you need to get your part to sit flat on the vice. Well, Danny from Lang was there, and I get on with Danny like a house on fire. He's so funny. Mike Harris actually calls him the godfather of workholding.
Oh, really?
But when you stamp I need to try and get this right. When you stamp your block with the stamping unit, when you then put that block into your vice, the vice teeth are slightly higher. So it doesn't pull your block down, it actually lifts it up. So your block is actually suspended. And they found it helps with like vibration and stuff like that. Oh, really? And I found that very interesting because you're always taught to knock it down. You're always taught to try and grip it.
Pull it down.
Exactly. You're always taught to do that. And then they've completely changed it. It's like... So yeah, that was
It's
quite
interesting now. I bet there's arguments against that.
There will be. There'll be arguments against it. There'll be arguments for it. But then... Yeah. And then, just when was the last time you saw an M mill at 100 mil long take one cut and it give you a mirror finish? That was...
Yeah, wicked.
Yeah. Speaking of Lang, obviously we've worked with Lang one way or another for probably, Paul, 10, 12 years, maybe slightly longer. We've promoted the product here in the UK, and we thank them for that. But what you've seen is lots of Lang vices, pretty much every machine shop. I'd hate to think what share they've got on 5-axis machines, but it's significant. It's high. But what we're doing this year, we're going to concentrate more on their automation systems. And it's fair to say Lang are known for automation, but they're better known for their vices because more market adoption and things. But I think there's 50 odd in the UK right now, but they want to grow that significantly this year. And we're going to help them on their journey. But this RoboTrek system, we've probably all seen it.
That's not the one that... What was that one
that was the tower one they used to have, didn't they?
Yeah.
So now it's like
Of course I've seen it.
It's like a drawer system, so you can load up various vices, take it away, bring a new one in. So obviously there's no downtime.
because what's great about that system is you don't program the robot to pick your part up, you pick the vice up.
No
so
programming.
Once you've programmed it once, you never program it again.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what part you
that
put in.
That means you have to put the part in the vice.
Yeah.
Before you put the... Yeah.
Well, you put the block in. But if you want something quite interesting as well, so we're going to be doing some more videos on the... I can't remember call it now. It's like the compact
RoboTrek compact,
Yeah. Well, us at MTD actually saw that before Lang UK saw it.
How?
Because they showcased it for the first time ever at A&B, and we were there first. So we actually did videos on it before Danny saw it. He told me the other day.
Yeah, I'm just looking at
He
my
wants
notes.
to get himself on a plane, doesn't he? He wants to get himself over there.
Just looking at my notes on that, the compact, it's 2 square meters and up to 100 vices. So that thing's like smaller than this table, a lot smaller than this table. And you've got all those vices in it. Clearly smaller components.
Must go.
It's not even that high. I bet it's only as tall as me or you if we stand up.
But I see it on some of
What,
these
6'2"?
some of these smaller machines that we see, maybe some of the
For the record, Paul is
BT30
not
and stuff. It's going to be fantastic for them. Obviously, they've still got the traditional studs, the 52, 96 scenario as well. But they're becoming more and more popular. We're just going to help them this year and promote them around the UK.
Yeah,
I think it'll go really well. Looking at the size of parts, a lot of people in the UK do. It'll be and how small it is, because obviously people are trying to fit more in smaller units because save money on unit space, and it's going to be great.
Talking about that, something quite interesting. I wasn't very well this week.
You're pointing at me.
Sorry, I'm
What
just
have I
getting
done?
excited now. I was really poorly this week, and I couldn't go to a job. But you met someone who was, I know, you know where I'm going with this. So I was meant to do a job down in Windsor, and it was talking about a brother machine, and this guy, Ed Wildgoose, he literally measures the electricity bill, and he knows exactly how many watts of electricity is being used from his machine, and it's less than a light or something.
Now, I want to give you a little bit on this, but I don't want to tell you too much because
You don't know.
I will get it wrong. No, you're right, Joe. I will get it wrong, and I don't want to tell you something that's wrong. I want you to. The video will be out hopefully very shortly, and it is Ed. He is one of the most passionate people I've ever met. He's so clever what he can do and what he has done. Now, so what he's done is he's bought a brother machine to make components which he sells for his own components. But he's just had solar panels put on his roof. So obviously with the solar panels, you get an app to see how much electricity you brought in. And he figured out that if he's upstairs in his office, he turns the lights off, goes downstairs, turns the machine on, machine's apart, turns it back off, goes back upstairs, turns the lights on. He actually uses the same electricity with the machine as his lights in his office. And it was just, and he was telling us, and this is where I don't want to get it wrong, this is where I'd like people to listen to it. He was telling us, say, how much his electricity costs with like 20p's. So how many 20p's it costs him to run that machine. And honestly, you will be blown away.
His office is the size of a football pitch.
It's quite pertinent, really, that you were there, because I've done a podcast with Peter Smith from White House Machine Tools this month. In fact, it's due for release, I think, on February the 10th, and it's an hour long. But the detail in it about the BT30 machine, the brother machine, versus a BT40. And some of the compelling points that Peter puts across about, one of which, of course, being the efficiency, how these machines can be up to, I think it's 70% less in cost, might be even more in terms of the power consumption. But not just that figure, 70%, because what is 70% of what? How do you get to? But actually breaking it down into pounds and pence is what these guys at White House are trying to show people. So when everybody's looking at saving costs, they're looking at reduction in their electricity bills. They're looking at the reduced footprint. That was a big part of it. The speed of these brother machines as well, which I'm sure he talked about. Again, cutting out. They call it cutting out the waste. Really, is what brother is about. And with the abilities of the BT30 spindle now, they are like Peter was saying. Why are people buying BT40 machining centres now?
Anymore.
What anybody that's buying a BT40 machining centre should be coming to talk to White House Machine Tools to see whether and to see how the BT30 machine can compete against it, and it can be a smaller footprint. It can make. I mean, they were talking about putting a program from one of their competitors' BT40 machines into a brother machine, and immediately I think it cut 40% of the cycle time immediately. Yeah, and the ISO, the code,
time, isn't it? Yeah.
The code, there was very little changes in the code. It was run through, and he gave it back to he said, "Look, if you do that part on this machine, it's gonna take you, it's gonna reduce your cycle time 40%." So they're putting together a really good program of activity with us, and I'm sure they'll be doing it elsewhere as well about this BT30 versus 40, which I guess this guy is seeing.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up, because Ed was telling us about this, and he said, this is his words, not mine, that if you have a part that will fit in your hands, there is no better machine. And he says that in the video. And he was always said...
What's he making, though, just out of curiosity?
So he makes... Oh, I can't even tell you.
What materials?
Right, so this is what I'm getting onto. So he was doing some aluminium, and everyone's like, yeah, well, that's what they're for. But while we were there, he was actually cutting HRC 42 Rockwell material at 50 mil deep, leaving him... And he was saying that this machine will do as much as a BT40 will do. He was such an advocate for this machine, and it comes over in the video. He's so passionate, and this machine and the help and support he's had from brother, because he will tell you this himself. He isn't a machinist. He needed a machine to make the parts, because he does a lot of prototyping. So obviously sending that out and it being wrong, coming back, he just wanted a machine, and the help and support he got from the guys at White House have got him up and running. And yeah, he was showing us what he could cut on this thing, and he was saying this machine, let's say, was using 10 watts to cut this part. He was saying like an equivalent BT40 would be 50, 60 watts for that one part.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Early on, we talked about potentially smaller businesses struggling and things. And if you're a machine shop owner with half a dozen staff, maybe some more, essentially, I'm sure there's people making lots of money, but I bet the average person, this electric increase of the last 24 months, that's probably wiped out their dividends. Literally, they've gone from earning money they're really happy with to money they're probably paying people on their shop floor more. So I think cycle time savings, yes, all that good stuff. But the energy saving you can achieve using a brother against other BT40 machines is just it's so compelling, isn't it? So compelling.
Do you know what the other points as well was the probing? He was so complimentary of the program, because he kept saying, I'm not a machinist, I make mistakes, I do this wrong, I do that wrong. He says, but again, with him being such a clever guy, he's set the datums on the machine to the center of his vise. That's like the safety position, then everything works off that. So he's got two vices set up, and he says, oh, say I run this program last week, and then next week I come in and put the block in the wrong vise. It says most of the time you'll press go, and all of a sudden you've got 4 tools straight into your vise. He says, but I'm such an advocate of probing, he says, because it saves me all the time. He says, because as soon as it realises it tries to probe and there's nothing there, it just crashes the machine out. He says, no, it's not that what you're doing. And he says, and where you've got people who are trying to get blocks in the vise in the perfect position each time, he says the probing is so fast. Why would you not just probe every block every time? He says, because you put it in somewhere near, the probe comes in, it might be 5 seconds. And this is something else you'll see from the video. He talks about how this is 5 seconds, this is 4 seconds, I can do this in 6 seconds. And what he says will resonate with so many people, because he's like, right, people are saying to me, why are you probing that part? Because you're losing 5 seconds there. Yeah, but it's taking me 10 seconds quicker to load the part because I'm not trying to get the... Yeah. He's thought of it in every shape and form and every angle. He's thought of, how can I make it quicker? How can I make it easier for myself?
Commercial thinking. I was going to ask you, talking about saving electricity. How's your electric car? Just come into my head then. I was thinking.
Oh, it's actually, it's still. I've got it on subscription. It's not a lease. It's not it's a subscription.
What's that then?
I can give it back. I can phone them up and they collect it tomorrow, type thing.
Do you pay a premium for that?
No, we're not actually. No, it's actually cheaper than the lease, which makes no sense at all, really. But yeah, no, really good. If only getting to the office, it's exactly 50% battery, and I'm like, not chancing that. So I just give it a little top up here, and it gets me home. I've had it 5-ish weeks, and I've only actually charged away from home a couple of times.
See, the big question with these electric cars, I don't know why I thought about this when you were talking about I was thinking about power saving. I was thinking about my thing at home that I've got on the wall where I plug the car into, because I've got a Tesla as well. But they always say the adoption of electric cars, are they going to be popular? Are they,
It's really mixed at the moment.
It's really mixed. But I guess I listened to a podcast where a guy was saying that the success of an electric car isn't the amount of new ones that are being purchased. It's about the people that already have one that go on and buy another one afterwards, because then you've got full adoption. Would you go back to a diesel or a petrol car?
This is where we disagree, because if there was no tax benefit, I wouldn't touch an electric car.
Why?
But you would.
But why? I would.
I like an engine. I like the roar of an engine. I just like the combustion engine, the engineering that goes into it. Just feel a bit more real, whereas electric cars, great fun, don't get me wrong.
Do you feel like you're just driving your phone?
It's a bit like that. It's a bit with the autonomous driving, and that's a bit weird. I've turned that off, but it's
But it isn't autonomous. This is a big thing as well.
Well, it drives right. Okay, it doesn't. No, it's the one with lane departure. It changes lanes for you. It goes.
He's been sitting there not touching the wheel for about
Have you not,
half an hour.
have you not seen the state of his wheels? He's been trying to use it.
Autonomous driving will be when someone can take me to the Emirates, let me have 6 pints of lager, and then drive me home.
Yeah, them 6 pints just to get through Arsenal's
losing.
Yeah.
But I'm the opposite.
Taxi, because there's no steering wheel in a taxi. You can't physically drive the taxi.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go. I would buy. In fact, my wife's got one, so we've now both got electric cars, and we're moving house, and the house we've got has just got one charger. And when I phoned up the guys that install the electric chargers, I said, I need like a double socket. If I had a double socket, you must do a double socket. But they do. But they're not just twice the price. They're like 10 times the price.
Why don't you have a second charger?
That's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, sorry. They said to me, you'd be better off having two chargers. And I've got two on my wall. I don't want two on my wall. One's enough. But I would, as it stands now.
The house is big enough, though, isn't it?
This is our first world problems.
It really is.
I've got to open the gates, and once I've got through the gates, I've then got to drive the drive. But
when the butlers let him in,
my argument would be now, since I've had it, I think that I don't think there'd be any reason for me to have a diesel or a petrol car again. I think it's brilliant. Plug it in, charge it up. I might have to stop on the M6 for 20 minutes. Get some juice in it.
It's no drama, is it? It's no drama. The electric prices, even in the 5 weeks I've had it, are going up and up and up. And when you got adoption, it'll cost you as much to charge it at the services as it would petrol.
Have you got down to like 15, 10%, 7%?
Yeah, 7%.
See, I wonder what I'm not prepared to test for obvious reasons is in a diesel car or petrol car, when you're on red and it says 0, how far do you keep
left?
Yeah, what have I got with an electric? You just don't know. I'm guessing.
Have you ever run out of petrol?
Yes.
You've run out of AdBlue as well, and you're stranded on the motorway.
Oh, I remember this.
And we came back. Was it you with Tom? Or was with we were coming back in Munich. Joe Amos and Colin were in the car. It might have been Chris. And we were driving from, I can't remember, from somewhere, and we wanted to go and see the Allianz Arena, which is in Munich. Yeah. We were early to get to the airport. We thought we'll drive up to the Allianz Arena. We've got 50 miles of fuel left in the car. We'll fill it up right at the airport. Yeah, we've got enough to get to the Allianz. Anyway, long story short, by the time we get to the Allianz, we were on 0, and we put into the thing how far from here to the airport, and it was like 11 miles or something. We thought, shit, we've literally, what are we going to do? So we get the phone and we just put it over the fuel thing. So you can't see it. I think that was a Colin Griffiths one. That was. He was like, I got a solution to this. Well, what's the solution? Here's my phone. Stick it over the thing.
Did you just put like 100 miles on your phone so you every time you look down?
We made it. We made it back to the station, filled up, and dropped the car off. But that's but I have run out of fuel. But for electric cars, for me, I can't see any reason for me to go back for anything else.
No, I do.
Got 2 speeding tickets though. Like you got one the other day too.
Yeah, I'm going to say, don't bring me into this.
They're pretty rapid. I never go above the speed limit, but you get there pretty quick. The speed limit. But the good car. Yeah, if I lived in the city, probably I would keep them, but and I will keep it for tax reasons. But I live in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? I've got pretty much 40 mile either direction. There's no charges. So I've got a
couple of miles to get off the farm, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
A couple of miles off your gate towards your gates, isn't it?
I want to be Elon's tunnels. That's what I need. Yeah. That's what I need. But the good cars, good fun.
Yeah. So I was digressing there.
No, it's all good. We like it.
Yeah. Has your man got batteries there? With the solar panels.
Yes.
So he stores.
See, this is more that will come from Ed, not me.
Yeah.
And yeah, he like I said, I don't want to tell you something that's wrong, but it was something along the lines that he makes enough electricity and then stores it in the batteries. Mm-hmm. So he actually runs 6 months off the grid.
Oh, that's cool.
On the machine.
That is good. Yeah.
I don't think people talk about this enough. I really don't. But I think forever people have gone, sustainability, and pushed it to aside. And then people, obviously government are saying, you need to do this, you need to be net zero and all of this lot. And I think people like Ed who understand it will do so well from it, because I don't think we fully understand it all.
And people are too busy. People are just day to day coming in, turn machine on.
Yep.
Yeah. But
You know.
this is something
And
else.
they get stumped with a great big bill and go, haven't got
This is
time to
something else
reflect.
Ed was doing. So he's even gone even deeper than just the
Is
machine.
Ed your best
running.
friend, Tom?
Honestly,
I know he's got a few more than that.
I've got a few more.
There's one.
But he'd even gone down to the point where the most energy consuming part of the machine was the coolant pumps, not even the spindle.
Yeah.
Because obviously coolant pumps, you turn them on, they're on. So he's even worked out down to the pence of how much cheaper it is for him to run it without coolant than to run it with coolant. Wow.
You sure brother don't want to take on Ed themselves?
Yeah,
Because
Let's wait for the video.
Just
Let's
on the,
wait for them. Wait
Honestly,
till
you want to. Some of the stuff in that video will blow you away.
Tom, talking about... Oh, sorry, Joe.
No, I was just going to say, on the net zero, and I won't go into it, pros and cons and all the billions we're ploughing into it. You could put solar panels on every house in England for the money they're investing, just a fraction of that money. But the only way to get adoption net zero is to save people money. It is. I want to do my bit. I recycle, I do my best. But if you want mass adoption of it quickly, it's got to save people money.
Yeah.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Same with anything. Is if you want adoption of anything, save people money and they'll buy it.
Yeah, it's true.
Right, you're looking at me again.
I'm looking at you, Tom, because you're like a kid in a sweet shop. Who's going out to Germany soon? Who's going to DMG Murray
for
Fronton?
anybody who watched the last podcast, me pushing Paul into a corner worked. It worked.
Still got the bruises.
Yeah.
If you're not giving the bad news yet, Paul.
Yeah.
It only
it's
took
coming.
42 phone calls, numerous emails and texts, but I've got myself there finally. So
It is mega.
I
It is.
am really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, will be a good trip. Yeah, and you're.
And it's Ian. Ian's worked for this company for how many years? 12, 13 years?
It must be. Yeah.
Yeah, he was saying it's the first
He's
time.
never been to Fronton before. He's so excited.
Yeah.
And that's a great big show for DMG Murray, isn't it?
Oh, I
It's
can't wait.
like one
So
of the biggest.
I was reading through their open house agenda, and some of the things you're going to see is just going to be.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. It is an amazing place. I think we mentioned it on the last feature. Yeah. The location is just, I was going to say idyllic, but it is to a degree, isn't it? You know, if that's the right. I always think of idyllic as an island with white beaches and clear blue seas, but I guess there is the opposite to that, which this is mountains and snow and all the rest of it.
Can I tell you a story?
Yep, of course.
So when we last went to Fronton, I was pregnant with Saffron, and there's a restaurant up in the mountains that the guys like to go to, and so a driver will pick everybody up and they'll take you up the side of this mountain, right? I'm talking, it is one of the scariest moments, and it was one of the scariest moments of my life. And I was absolutely petrified to a point where the driver does it all the time, that the bends were so fine, he couldn't even turn the vehicle. So he had to go forward and then reverse back up the side of the mountain. Do you understand? So it's like a hairpin bend. So we couldn't actually get the angle, and you look to the right and it's just this steep slope where you're about to fall off this cliff. And then to the left is this tiny, tiny little hairpin bend. And so he would basically go up and then reverse up the mountain like a zigzag. Honestly, petrifying. I'm screaming. We're in like this minibus of about 12 blokes that are like laughing their head off because I'm screaming. Honestly, it's one of the scariest things. Guy was on his phone. He goes and picks up his mobile phone. Who's driving? So he's got all of our lives in his
So
hands.
he's got a cigar in one hand, a mobile phone in the
Honestly,
other.
He's driving with his knee.
Needs a Tesla.
And honestly, and I just said, dude, what are you doing? Why are you on your phone? What are you doing? And there he is, just talking in German. And then he's there trying to say, I do this all the time. And it wasn't snowing, but he's so casual driving up this mountain. I'm frightened for my life. There's about 12 blokes laughing their heads off. But when we got to the top, I would say pinch me moment of my career, some of the views that you've got of the ski slopes. And there wasn't a lot of snow, but the ski slopes, the views of that location in Fronton is just spectacular.
And I think Tom's thinking, wow. But
you might not go up there.
I don't think we'd go. I've never been up that, but you've got to remember the time you went. That was in 2022, and it was in the summer, wasn't it? They flipped the open house from February to May.
Yeah.
And I think that then gave the conditions and the lighter day to be able to go up there, because obviously now it's going to be dark.
Yeah, sorry, Tom, you won't go up there. So
You won't see anything.
At least
we'll be in and out of the factory. We're in the hotel at night, and that's it.
At least that's
No
one
fun.
restaurant Paul can't get all over his trousers.
Speaking of DMG Murray, The January issue of the MTD magazine is out, and the most
nice plug there, Joe.
the most important page in the whole
It's the
magazine
Spot the
is a
Difference.
spot the difference, and conveniently, it's a DMU 60 Evo linear with a Lang automation
Have you
system.
found them all?
Have you found all 10?
And we've just been talking about both, haven't we?
Have you found all 10?
I will. I haven't even tried yet, but I will.
Right, I've got a very, very quick, story about the Spot the Difference.
Go on.
Do you two remember the first time I ever did a Spot the Difference?
Were we on a swarf or something?
No, you were interviewing me. And I've got a photo of me, you, and Paul stood around round a table with the Spot the Difference.
Oh, I
Yeah, gosh, that
love
would've been a few
that.
years ago.
I loved watching your video that you brought out the other day, you know, with you back in the day.
that was 14 years ago.
It's the tie for me. The tie
the
just
shirt.
made it.
You know
that
what?
was-
He looks like he's gone to his best mate's wedding, doesn't he? But,
Just called
he
in on
does.
the way.
but in the 80s.
That was off the cuff. What you remember that day? Joe?
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
there, and Richard was brilliant. You know,
He was so
was
good.
really good.
You were nervous. I
yeah,
watched it the other night, and I was just like, Paul is a different man now.
I was just right. Okay, let's do this. It's got to be an element of professionalism and seriousness and all the rest of it, which it did have. And
And like this.
it was really good. Old videos. You know, the other day, my father-in-law gave me and Nina a video of our wedding, which we'd never had, because he'd not given it to us and all the rest of it. But the person that was supposed to be doing our wedding video was my cousin. And he was too drunk on the day, so we never really got a really good wedding video, unfortunately, until the other day. He gave us a stick in our whole wedding video. Sadly, his wife passed away, and she was the one that took the camera work. And I look back at that now. That was in 2003, that was.
It's taken 20 odd years to edit it.
But I look at it now and I go, wow, look how different I look then to what I do now. And same with the thing you were talking about.
Yeah.
Can we bring back the shirt and tie just for you? You know, as the CEO.
It was a
Purple.
purple
It's put weight on since then. It wouldn't fit with it.
He's lost weight. Look at the size of him.
We can have MTD wrote on it this time, and the
It's like
tie could
Lance
be.
Armstrong.
Well, Ian was the cameraman then, and he had this massive thing on his shoulder.
Yeah.
It's like
It
the
was
lens
do you
was
remember that?
90,000,
Do you
wasn't it? The
remember
lens was 90,000. The camera was 100 and something. It was like-
that is the story, and I hand it to Joe in its entirety. Joe was the one that came to us. He was working with us, and he said, "Why don't we make videos?" Remember? And I said, "Well, how are we going to do that?" And he's like, "My brother-in-law, he's a cameraman." Oh, well, is he? Yeah. He works at somewhere down the road. Okay, well, let's meet him. We met him in that McDonald's, didn't we? And we sat there and we were
course you did.
well, how are we going to make money out of this? So are we going to make, how are we going to make money out of this? And we were like, we'll give you the odd job, Ian. And then the first job was that, and he rocks up and he's got this thing massive. It was like
Sky TV
it was like
camera,
a Sky TV, huge thing. I said, how much is that worth? It was about 50 grand, wasn't it? Or something?
No, the lens was like 18.
Was it?
It's like 150, 200 grand for all of it.
Was it? Yeah, incredible. But yeah, he turned up and did that. Yeah. And he would have been in his late 50s, then, wouldn't he?
And that's now why he has a bionic knee.
And the
Carrying
rest,
that camera
and
around
the rest is
everywhere.
history, isn't it? Or maybe you did that job, and I can't remember what day of the week it is, but it feels like the next day it went out or whatever, and the phone just started ringing.
Well, I did. I had a call straight away from
The phone
an
just started
MD of another
ringing.
company, and he said, "I saw you endorse that machine. Can you come and endorse mine?" And I was like, "Right, this is going to work.
Yeah.
Let's do it."
Yeah, interesting.
And now
But
you've
DMG
been-
Mori Fronton, yes, you're going. It will be a great trip. There's lots of world premieres. We'll bring them all to obviously to the YouTube channel and the website.
Do you know some of them?
Well, yeah. Off the top of my head, I'm sure you can tell me. I know there's a new entry-level 5-axis machine there. There will be, I think it's a new CLX or CTX. I can't remember the exact.
CTX 750.
CTX 750, which will be interesting.
Which is huge.
Yeah, but it's not just these it's when you go round there, and I know we've probably said this before, but when you go round the show, you see stuff and you go, wow, that's innovation, and that's changed in less than 12 months, and there's a new machine, and there's this and there's that. So their investment in R&D, their investment in bringing stuff to the fore is
Incredible, isn't it?
incredible.
Now, there's something-
Incidentally, sorry, anyone going from the UK with the UK contingent, you're likely to see Matt Garbett and Dave Wilshire from ZCC Cut and Tools. Can't say too much, but there's some massive announcements coming from potentially that trip, if not that trip, other trips. Some big news. We're going to be doing a lot more with ZCC this year. We worked with them, well, pretty much since they started here in the UK.
Went to Germany with them.
Yeah, absolutely. We do a lot with them, but it's going to the next level this year. Both what we do with them and what they're doing here as a business, how they position themselves, and some pretty exciting things to come, which we'll tell you about nearer the time.
On that launch, you looked like you were on a submarine. Did anyone else think
What was that, a photo?
It was a photo, right? But it was a great big blue glass thing behind them that looked like fish would be in. And it looked like three boy band members underneath the water. Where were you on that picture?
It was, I can't remember the name of the hotel, but I bet not say where it is actually, because that's still secret. But a Midlands-based hotel. And my thing, I didn't think at the time. You said that. Are you underwater? And I said, yeah, it's the year 3000, because obviously the song. And I can Megan Zuma from the States said that, and I put that, and I'm thinking, she's not going to know that song.
So we've all just found out that Joe is a massive Busted fan.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. So anyway.
Guys, I'm off to Thailand soon.
Yeah, that's going to be a really good trip.
So excited.
I'm well, Joe.
Oh, no, I would be if I was you.
Yeah, like how we're going to be freezing and you're going to be lovely and warm.
I know.
You've got a perfect time of year to be going there. And I mean, I've got to say, the company that you'll be keeping over there, Peter and his team,
Fantastic
the planning we did the other day for that event, for that week that you're going to go. Yeah, you'll have a fantastic time. You know,
so excited.
Be amazing to see. I'm really looking forward to seeing the social media from there and the videos of the tour of the factory. Obviously, this is the Sodic factory in Thailand. Looking forward to seeing where the machines are made. But they're taking a contingent of customers over,
50
aren't they?
people,
50
some of their
people.
dealers, customers, and everything. But I'm really.
What's your itinerary? What this?
Okay, so the itinerary obviously is to create content, corporate content, but technical content as well. But the technical content is different because it's from the location to where everything is produced. So I'm really excited because, we talk about ceramics, we talk about 10-year guarantee, but it's actually being able to see, visualize, and create content on the hand scraping, the ceramics, why the ceramics are different, everything from the ground up. I think is where I'm really excited to see, because I see you go wire EDM and people see the machine, but actually to see it being made, the technology, why they do what they do, why do they have a 10-year guarantee? Just why? What is it that they have done that allows for that machine to have that 10-year guarantee on accuracy? Sorry, I know there's a bit more to that. But why? It's not just a throwaway comment. I guess
the confidence in your product to be able to offer that. And I think one of the things with EDM machines is it's quite difficult, really, in a lot of instances to make them look stunning in terms of their operation. I know we can see wire cutting material and sparking and so forth, but you talk about a machining centre with chips flying everywhere and. It's got that sort of that draw, the noise, the chips hitting the window, all of that is what pulls people, isn't it? But wire cutting and stuff like that, it's a lot more difficult. Yeah, it's more difficult.
It's the accuracy. It's the 10-year guarantee on accuracy. And for me, what's exciting is who they are, what the brand is all about, because I think, and we'll all agree, we're in very privileged positions to go out to these facilities, and then it adds weight to the brand that you can't even put your finger on, doesn't it? So when you go, they're quality machines, you're not just saying it, you're seeing it, and we're able to create content behind that. Yeah. And I think visualize that, take places to people to places that they don't get to see to back up that product. And I think for me, it's a privilege to be able to do that.
And recreationally, you're going to have, you're going to be going to these places and seeing. I mean, I think Chris and Joe are going to Phuket afterwards, aren't they? Which is where I went last year.
Yeah.
They'll have a fabulous time there.
Not a bad job, is it?
No. Can I say something
I'm thinking
really funny?
Germany, Thailand. I've got a nice
Ludlow.
trip to. I've got a nice trip to Birmingham coming up.
Good. Yeah. But I think what's funny is quite funny because you've got Peter Cap, who's been there many a time before. He's seen the facility. He knows what's around. They do, when Sodic do things, they do things right. And then you've got Chris, who's really excited to go to like a second-hand camera shop. So when you've got him and Peter Cap, Peter's like, right, I want to do this nice thing. And he's like, no, I want to go to the market. But So it's so good when they meet because they're talking about what they want from this whole trip as well. So it is about the machines. Of course, it always will be. But it's about the people behind the brand and just the personality. I'm just so excited about
what I thought was funny is these guys were talking about what they were going to do. Right, let's get the filming plan and all the rest of it. Right, that's all. We know where we're going and what we're doing. Okay, so in the evenings, where are we going to go? Which restaurant? We're going to go here. I'm going to take you there. When I went to Thailand or Phuket last year, I did something that Greg talked about in the meeting. He said, just don't get ill, don't eat street food.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't eat street food, drink bottled water, keep your hands clean.
They've done it before. They know.
They know because if you get ill, you're done.
Yeah.
When I was in Phuket last year, I stupidly stopped off. They have these little. They're almost like mopeds, and on the back of them, they're
tuk-tuks.
Yeah, like tuk-tuk things, and they've got like barbecues in them, and they're cooking these bits of chicken and stuff like that. I stopped at one of these, and I thought, being in Phuket, I should try everything that is Phuketish, if that's whatever.
No, that's not a
or
word.
Phuketable?
You wished it was forgettable.
And so there was like these satay chicken things, like you get those chicken
lovely,
things on a stick. And I bought like 6 of them, and it was less than 50p. It was nothing. And they were lovely, really, really nice. Anyway, I got back and I said to the kids, "Do you want?" And I should never have done that. No, Dad, I'm not touching that. Anyway, I was so ill. I was so ill. Literally the day before we flew back, I've never been so ill.
Is that because you're nut allergy?
Honestly, it was absolutely horrendous. So when you guys were talking about that, I thought absolutely be really
careful.
Really careful of this
Because
of what you eat.
ultimately you get there, and obviously we've got a job to do whilst we're there.
Yeah.
You don't have time to get ill. So Peter says, just be sensible with your food.
Yeah.
Be sensible.
Yeah.
That makes me quite nervous.
Just don't eat. It was street food, good restaurants, clean hands.
There'd be nothing wrong with it. You're just we're not used to it, are we? I bet the locals don't have any issues whatsoever with it.
Probably not. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
I want to give you a heads up as well. They've got a open house that we're going to be doing.
That's correct.
So they've got loads of. They've got quite they're going through quite a good time at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, really good time.
They're doing a open house in conjunction with Hexagon. They're working in partnership to really showcase to new customers and obviously current customers how the Hexagon product can work so well with their products and push them to the limits, not just on the EDM, but the high-speed milling machines as well. So there's a real big push on this. I think they just really want to open their doors and showcase exactly what they're capable of doing.
Yeah.
And to apprentices too, because Richard was telling me they're keen to get, apprentices through the door, a real educational few days on EDM, on your die sinking machines, and again the high-speed milling.
I think that's the interesting one when you see their place. You see the high-speed machining centres that they produce, the UX range. The surface finishes on some of the parts are just
incredible,
out of this world.
Some
all down to linear drive,
almost
motor
don't need
technology.
an EDM, do you, when you see the finish?
No, that's right. I know.
A sparker.
And then working with Hexagon, like you say, there'll be this combination of the metrology aspect, the reverse engineering,
the offline programming, how they integrate.
Programming, all of that together. 13th, 14th and 15th of May, I believe that is.
Yeah.
So that will definitely be something to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
That's good.
Speaking of Midlands-based companies, Paul and I went to Goering fairly recently. Yeah, not too long ago, was it?
No, yeah.
And again, we've worked with Goering for quite some time. And we've picked different products to promote, as we do with many of our customers. But this year it's the Superline catalogue. And for anyone that's ever sold cutting tools, if you don't work for Goering, it's a right pain in the ass, because when you see the Superline catalogue, it's so easy to navigate for customers, for end users. Cutting data's at the back, the part number's well presented. And it always used to be a bane in my life when I was selling cutting tools. But essentially, they want us to promote that range throughout this whole year, don't they, Paul? It's quite exciting. They've got millions and millions of pounds worth of stock here in the UK. They obviously a big manufacturing facility. They can regrind, they can requote, all here in the UK in the same facility. I don't think there's anyone of that scale that can do that, apart from Goering, certainly in the UK. And yet it's all available, even same day now. Obviously, it used to be like 1 day delivery and next day, but same day delivery is becoming a thing now in the cutting tool world. And
it's an amazing place. I know, product aside, I mean, that's obviously critical and important, but you go to that facility and I think to myself, that needs to be shouted about more. You know, what they've got there and the capability of what they're actually manufacturing there and what they're doing is, so it's going to be good to see a lot more. And of course, they're right at the back of the Villa ground. When we went there,
that's the downside, isn't it?
Kind enough to take us to Villa Park to go and have lunch. They've got access to that sort of one of the sports bars in there, I think it is, and you can see right on the pitch. We went in there and had a sandwich, didn't they? And it was. In fact, I did 2 stadiums in a day that day. I went to the Villa Park at lunch, and then when I got home, I was off down to the Emirates to watch.
So what was it like for you both to see a good ground for once?
Hey.
And I don't mean the Emirates.
Small capacity.
Oh. Yeah. It is nice though, because I'm used to Man United fan, big stadium, but obviously the Villa ground, it's a much smaller one.
And if you had a choice where you would play, I guess if you were playing in a big stadium, you've got all the. You've got a lot more capacity. But if you're in a tight stadium where you've got your fans right next to you, you can imagine the elation it would be scoring a goal.
Which is great, because from Goring's car park, you can see the stadium.
You can, yeah, absolutely.
It's a really great place to be. Yeah. I would like to... Can you imagine coming out of work when they're playing?
It's a night. I think, don't they have to finish a little bit earlier?
I was just meaning
on
the
noise.
Days
or so, yeah.
Imagine the noise. You come out of work and you hear them all cheering.
Yeah. It's always 0-0 at the Villa.
There's no
I only went to one game years ago and it was 0-0.
Yeah.
But but no, joking aside, the Superline range, it's got everything: drills, taps, milling, reamers, tools for pretty much every material, and it's all available same day in theory from Birmingham. So it's an exciting campaign this year.
And talking of that, I've got one more company I would like to mention.
Yeah.
So a week ago, we went to Fanuc.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We went to Fanuc for a training event, let's call it, in conjunction with Sierra 57, who are a big training manufacturer, on plastic. So obviously plastic injection molding is massive. But then you've got people who are saying, oh, you shouldn't use plastic anymore. Plastic's bad for the environment. So now they're doing training events on what plastic is. Did you know seaweed is a plastic?
What you mean? It's not a plastic when
Seaweed in the sea is a plastic. It's classed as a plastic.
Right.
Did not know that. And there's a load of other things. But they are...
But people eat seaweed.
Exactly. So you're eating plastic.
And sweet corn, you can use that. Is that another plastic? Yeah.
So essentially what they were doing is...
you can make plastic bottles out of sweet corn. It's really, I used to work for a company that made plastic bottles, and that was like the next level. Carry on, Tom.
So every day's a school day.
Yeah.
Well, what they're doing is they're trying to showcase to people who work in injection molding or are thinking of getting into injection molding, apprentices, that sort of thing. They are giving them all the pros and cons of plastic so that people can make their own minds up about it. Instead of you hearing on the TV, plastic's bad, plastic isn't the greatest thing, but it's needed, and it's needed for some products. So they're training they were doing 2 modules, 2 tests to pass this curriculum, let's say. They essentially giving you the correct details, the correct advice, but not telling you what you should think. They're letting you make your own mind up about it. And I thought that was something that was completely different.
It's often about how long it takes to degrade. That's the difference. That's what a lot of them are looking for as well.
And the less time it takes to degrade, the better, I guess.
And there's a big like I wasn't there, Tom. I don't know what was talked about, but a friend of mine sells plastic packaging for the food industry. So when you go and get your mushrooms or whatever at Tesco's, and he said what they don't realise is if they ban that, he said everyone's just going to be riddled with disease because you've got to spray all your food to keep it longer. So he said, ban plastic and just leave it on the shelves, but we're going to have to. It's basically going to have to have more pesticides and things.
I mean, people need to eat more bananas and oranges, then, don't they?
Yeah. Do you know there's alcohol in bananas?
No.
Yeah.
What?
But
0.5% alcohol.
Really?
Is that true?
It is, yeah. I was watching Dragon's Den and they had an alcohol-free beer, and one of the dragons said, well, it's 0.5%. How can you class that as alcohol-free? And they said, in Europe, anything below 1% is classed as alcohol-free.
So how many bananas do you have to top up your units or to go beyond the units?
Do an experiment and let us know.
So, he's going to look like Donkey Kong, and it's me full of bananas trying to get trying to.
Does
trying to
anybody
get
know
drunk.
the background of this? Because Paul eats bananas in his car. Like, you've got a reputation and a half, you have. You eat bananas in your car because you used to always say, well, I don't mind. And I go, well, yeah, you obviously eat your banana and you finish it and maybe put it in the middle, you know, if you're on the road.
middle.
And then you know, in the middle area. Yeah. And then when you get out of the car, you put it in the bin. He's like, no, I'll just fling them behind me. But then sometimes I'll get in the car and it will smell because there's a banana skin that's been in there for ages. And then I'll go, oh, it smells in here. So I'll just wind down the windows and it's a bit better. And I'm like, what even are you?
We were having this conversation yesterday, actually, about ADHD. And I think I've got ADHD. And what it means is I'm good at some stuff, but really bad at other stuff.
Is that?
And keeping the car clean.
I can put them in boxes, like the things I'm good at and things I'm really good at and the things I'm really bad at.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to sound really bad at cleanliness because that would be terrible, wouldn't it?
I don't know, for anybody who's seen your car.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean.
Well, can you about
No,
three,
it's his Merc.
about
His
three-
Merc was the best when he used to turn up with the roof down.
That's
And
why he's
so
got
you-
loads of bananas in the back of the car.
You walk past it, like, I'm sure it's a 4-seater, but you just couldn't see anything in the back. And Huel bottles were the worst. Just
Yeah.
Well, about 3 years ago, bless him, he had his car stolen. But the day after, that they bought it back with a sorry letter saying you can keep it.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. But that's interesting about bananas because that's part of my sort of fasting regime, what I can and can't eat.
Can you fast on bananas?
Well, no, you can't, but I'd always have
yeah.
one after a fast because it's a very subtle fruit to get you
I
digestion.
think you're fine, 0.5%. Yeah.
be all right.
I think you're okay.
I was always told to give my children banana before bed.
That's
because
probably why.
it was something to do with, like, the potassium and something like that in it. But then
All the alcohol too.
Yeah. You know what I just find? You never know what to eat now because for years you've been told that you can't eat this, can't eat that. And then now it's the opposite way. I'm really confused.
I think, and I
with
know
food
we're
at the
just
moment.
probably going to touch on social media and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but on like I watch a lot of stuff on TikTok and I scroll through.
Really?
We know.
And your feed is tailored towards obviously the things you like and all the rest of it. And what's the guy, Gary Brecker? Gary Brecker, amazing.
Yeah.
You know, to listen to.
I believe all that.
So do I, yeah. And it's all about what you put in your body, when you put it in your body, the impact of it, you know, and all the differences it makes and all the rest of it. You can have this test now where you put a swab in your mouth, can't you? And it can tell you when you're going to die to the nearest
It's
month
weeks.
or weeks. You know, incredible. But when you look through, they always talk about the vegetables and the things you should eat are the ones that are straight out of the ground, essentially, without any of this stuff on it. And it's a massive reason why, you know, potentially ill health is.
It's all to do with, I was listening to something the other day, the sugar spikes. The more sugar spikes you have, the longer you're going to live for, basically, is what they're saying. So less sugar. If you're going to eat anything, don't eat a chicken nugget. You eat it from the chicken. So you eat it from its purest form. Don't eat a sausage. You eat a piece, like a piece of pork
pig.
or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like your face when you're
Can I just say how this has gone from a manufacturing
it's important
podcast
because
to a
if
nutritionist podcast?
people want to keep healthy, you know. It's
He needs
important
to
for
keep
them
running the business. Come on, Tom.
I will say it's not exactly Sunday morning brunch or whatever it's called.
It
is
is, isn't it?
But
Oh, God.
diabetes is one of the biggest
Yeah.
killers, and that contributes to so many things. But it's so easy to not become a diabetic, but controlling that sugar intake, reducing that, you know, to just a few hours a day where you take in sugars, it has a massive impact on stuff like that. So,
Huge.
yeah.
Okay, let's move on from food. You said we were going to discuss socials. Socials have been really busy.
They have. I mean, the guys. We've got the team in Imtex
Yes.
in India at the moment.
They've
We've
been
got
so
Tony,
busy.
we've got Ashu, we've got
The whole team.
the whole team. But we have, and they're doing an amazing job on social media. I mean, the amount of stands I'm seeing that they're going on. What a show! Have you seen? How busy that place is?
Yeah.
Was there
My
26,000
goodness.
people on the Monday? 26,000 people.
My goodness me! I mean, you know, but you just go, you look at it and you think, because I've also heard that who was it we were talking to the other day where they literally all over you. They you know, you're there and there's just tons of people all around you and it's very hard to get any breathing space. That seems what it's like. We got distraction.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry, but it's our distraction. You carry on.
But when you look at that show, you just think to myself, my goodness me, it's absolutely ram jammed. And if there's 26,000 people in one day,
Ram
but
jam.
yeah,
Is that
ram jam. The team,
Is that a saying?
the team are doing an excellent job over there.
And it's interesting, brands I've just never heard of. Massive machine tool companies I hadn't heard of. It's not part of the world I know particularly well. But yeah, it's interesting. Looking forward to all the content coming out on social media.
I know that Grob are there, Mazak are there. You know, you're starting to see these machine tool builders start to try and penetrate these markets. Of course you would. I mean, they're huge.
The world's getting smaller.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that there's companies there with subsidiaries that you wouldn't have thought of as well?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've noticed there's a lot of companies there who now have a Indian branch I would have never have seen.
Yeah.
But like I said, the team, the MTD team, what they're showcasing on LinkedIn at the moment is
it's really good.
Like we wouldn't know half of that without them. They do such a good job.
The challenge is with the Indian market, and this is true. It's a market we work well in, but how the authorities work amongst the people, and there's like a hierarchy of who you can deal with and who you can't.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's really fascinating, and it might be that. You know, you might be a person of significant knowledge and intelligence in a particular topic or product, yet you're unable to be able to talk to, say, you know, I'd be unable to talk to Joe because my level, I can't remember what the levels are called, but my level of how I'm perceived within society is not enough. So I have to go to someone else who is on the same level as Joe to talk to.
He's understanding the
You
cultural
wouldn't find one, Paul. But
no, because you're right down there.
Yeah.
So it's a problem. But that is something.
Yeah, but that's mad.
So as an Indian, so if you're ever going to do business in India, you need to find someone in India to work with that is of the certain level within. But the really crazy thing is from the UK or from the USA, you immediately go in at the
Really?
top level.
Wow.
So you know, but that's just something that I've learned, and it's something that you know you have to pay attention to. But you know, it's a system that obviously has been inherent in their society for many years.
So Tom did a very ram-jammed post on social media.
Ram-jammed?
Ram-jammed post, a meme on social media, didn't you, the other day? That went really, it's ram-jammed with comments.
Where did that word come from, meme? Does it stand for something? Or I should know.
The meme. Or
meme or whatever.
Meme.
What is
Out
it?
of everyone, Joe, I would have expected you to know the background of this.
Well, to be honest, it just comes to me now, don't know what. But you know, a meme.
I don't know. Should we? While we're talking about this,
that was a really good post. What was the actual question on the post?
So the question was, it was something. Oh, what was it exactly?
What do machinists never say?
Yeah. What
thank me
would a
later.
machinist never say?
That's what I said.
So I commented
What were
on
some
that.
of the answers?
So I commented that and say, "Oh, my micrometer makes a great G clamp."
Done that.
We've seen it done, and it people go mad for it. So we've got we had. Oh, just talk on yourself for 2 seconds.
There was some really funny stuff.
Let me
that
find some of the
engineers-
answers because some of them were brilliant.
You have to be careful. Some of them aren't for broadcast, Tom.
No, I will.
It's been, I think he's seen like 30,000.
Really?
Yeah, so it's had over
Yeah.
30,000 engagement on it, and it's up. It's just passed over 220
That's the incredible
comments.
thing, isn't it, about social media and what does work. And I know we were talking about this the other day with Martin or somebody at one of our customers, and we were talking about what does work in engagement. How do you get it? How do you attract people to comment and stuff? And I saw one yesterday, which is totally out of this industry, but just made me laugh and made me smile so much. It was this TikTok of they were advertising these pair of scales, right?
TikTok again.
And this guy went to stand on the scales, and he dropped his underwear, right? And his underwear sat next to the scales, but his underwear was just filthy, right? But the whole thing was with the piece is that when you look through the comments, the whole thing had just blown up because basically people were going, I can't believe the state of his underwear. I can't believe the state of this. I can't believe the state of that. And I'm looking at it and I'm laughing and I'm going, I'm thinking the same. I can't, but actually I'm subtly having this sold to this pair of scales.
So-
Guerrilla marketing, that's called.
Is it?
Yeah. So basically, it was me who said this to you the other day.
Your
when we were
underwear?
with Martin. No. Oh, good God. No. It was basically how social media now. It was to do with Alex Hodgson because he was telling me about his house and that it had fallen down. So he's doing loads of stuff online to create video content. And then he got a little bit upset because he was doing it with his other half. And then people started writing not very nice comments on it. And then the thing is, so he was getting a bit upset because there were some mean comments being said. However, what they then realised was all these mean comments and the nasty things that people were saying, then created more of
Draws
an
more
algorithm, engagement, and
more
then
engagement.
it skyrocketed their views. So actually, these negative views, and now when you read stuff, because you always think, we go to the without a doubt, when you see something a bit juicy, you're like, let me just read those comments, and you open it up, you read more and more, and you love like this heated argument. A lot of the time, it's like robots doing it, AI robots. It's not actually people, because the controversy creates more like exposure. It's crazy.
It's like when you see something on Facebook and it always comes up with a line saying, "Can you believe what they have done?"
Yeah.
And you automatically drop to the comment.
Yeah.
And then anyway, let's go back to this one. So
we digress easily.
Name something a machinist would never say. And some of these are brilliant. The square hole in a chuck is where you store the chuck key.
Yeah.
Seen that done, and I've seen what that can do. This engineering drawing is perfect.
Never.
Engineers sure know what they're doing. That's how we've always done it.
That's mine.
I know it is. That's right. It was my fault. No machinist has ever
There
said
was
it was
one
my
about
fault.
the night shift as well.
Yeah, that
Never
was
blame
great.
it on the night shift.
The night shift have done a great job. They've emptied my swarf bin and replaced all the tools they've broken.
Never happens.
Paul, you used to do the night shift, didn't you?
Yeah, I used to love the night shift
Yeah.
because I could work from a Monday night to a Friday morning, and then I'd have all day Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. So I'd get a truncated week and an extended weekend, and I'd also get time and a half. So I'd work from 7 at night till 7 in the morning, go home, sleep for a bit. I used to work with guys that couldn't sleep on the night shift, but they loved the night shift because of the money. And they would have 2 hours sleep in the day and they'd go back and work at night. But they'd also benefit from the fact that they'd then got a whole day at home doing things.
Yeah,
and
doing
you
jobs.
know, in those days, they could wait for deliveries. They could do things that in those days they would have had to have taken a holiday for. And they would work 6-7 nights a week and, you know, on very little sleep. But I loved it. If I was ever to go back into the machine shop and work again, I would 100% work night shift.
Well,
Really?
Paul loved
Yeah,
it because
definitely.
he slept
he
so much
slept.
at work. He didn't need to sleep
I
at work.
was gonna say
the
that.
freedom you have in a night shift. You know, you have one foreman that was covering a whole place, and everyone used to go, "When's he coming? Oh, Derek's on his way back up," and you'd go, "Oh, right, get put the newspaper down, put it down, you know, right, get, you know." And it was just different world night shift for me.
Did anybody see that report the other day that over 200 companies have already signed up to work a 4-day week? Well,
we ain't one of them.
No, I know. Tell me about it. This wasn't a hint at all. Well, we went to a company this week called GW Martin. Now, we've been to GW Martin a few times before. Well, they actually do work a 4-day week, but not for what you'd expect. So they work 4 24-hour days. What? As in, they've got a night shift, so they work all day, all night. So they have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, which is great because they've got a 3-day weekend. But they've not done it for that. So what they've done it for is, on a Friday, if they have any jobs that come in urgently or need rushing through, they have capacity every single week to get customers' orders through that need them urgently.
Yeah, it's good.
So that was the opposite.
They can charge a premium for
Exactly. So that was another way of looking at the 4-day week. So
and
they
how
are
does
working
it work? Do they generally fill that Friday every week?
So
They do?
not every week, but he says if we need to, we can fill it, and then obviously the machinist will get time and a half or whatever. He says, but for the times we work and pay time and a half still doesn't amount to times they have off, so we're not paying any more.
Yeah.
He says, but we get the same amount of output. Well, we get more output than we would do just working 5 days because we work nights. And they're looking into a lot of automation, which brings me to they've just bought a new machine, a Mazak, and it was the one off the standard Mac. They bought it straight from Mac with the RoboJob automation system, and they bought the whole package at Mac.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool.
So that was quite nice because it was just nice to hear that they're investing. They've invested in quite a few machines recently.
Dog of a place to get to, Eastleigh. Nightmare.
Oh,
Good
Absolute
company,
nightmare.
but
Yeah.
But they were looking just back on this saving money. They were looking at saving money again. They've just had a whole new roof fitted. They've had all the lights changed out, solar panels all the way down. It says we don't use the heating anymore because the new roof and the machine's make enough heat. And what was great when I spoke to Stuart is their staff. They were so highly active on making their staff feel better at work, which brought me on to the reason we went. We went for Filtermiss. We went to see some of the Filtermiss units, and he was actively trying to do whatever he could to make the staff feel more comfortable at work. So he'd now got Filtermiss units on nearly every machine, and also Filtermist's sister partner.
Absolent.
That's the one, Absolent. So even on the Star machine they got, and we spoke to Lydia, who
I did see.
who will not mind me saying is we had her stood on a pallet because
It's like an old Geo moment. That is,
oh
isn't it?
honestly.
Yeah, do you remember?
Yeah.
But yeah, she loved it. We had to. Well, the thing is with filter machinists as well is obviously they're always
Well, how tall are you?
me.
Yeah.
5'10".
Oh yeah.
So I'm not the tallest of all people.
So how tall is Lydia?
Shorter, to put it that way.
I'm not a lot well, she's a pallet height and a little bit shorter.
Guys, you do realise I'm doing that all the time, but you just don't see it.
Yeah.
Like,
But obviously
I'm
the problem
always
is with a
standing on
filter mist unit is it's
They're
on top
so
of a machine
high.
as well.
Yeah.
So obviously we wanted to show the filter mist unit while I was interviewing Lydia. So obviously I had to go taller, but then because I was like sort of stood on my tiptoes a bit, Lydia had to then come up as well. So,
You'd be fine, Paul. You're 6'2", wouldn't you?
But exactly. That's
But
what I was
can I-
asking the
but can I
question.
just
Imagine
say
the
there was
difference between
something-
me and her? It'd be like that, wouldn't it?
but this brings me on to a comment that was on LinkedIn. I know you've seen it because you've loved it. And what got me was though Lydia put the photo on of me and her. She stood on this pallet. She's literally hugged me as we're taking this photo, and it shows that our customers and our collaboration become a lot deeper than just a customer buying and selling.
Of course,
We have got such great partnerships and we collaborate so well, and it just showed in that photo how much we all love each other, and it was great.
Yeah.
I think with all the people we work with, we have really solid, good relationships. We
I
are
love
who
it.
we are. I don't think there's any.
And I think
any
that
front
shows
or
it.
any-
We get on with everybody.
just genuine. We all just want to do well, and if we can do well and have a good time, then yeah, that's
Oh, we always have a good time.
we do, especially in Thailand.
I'm just
Moving.
worried that if the two cameramen come back and can't look each other in the eyes, I want to know what's gone off. That's what's
I
got
think we
me.
should close on that.
They will have a fabulous time.
Yeah, they will.
too.
We
Yeah.
really will.
No, but I'm envious. Anyway, moving on, if you don't
Yeah.
mind, about Thailand.
Okay.
We're doing a lot of work. New client of ours, Mitsubishi Materials, been around for a long, long time. Traditionally, again, when I was selling tools, they were known as really strong turning company, strong drilling company, solid carbide milling as well. Whereas now, as you'd expect in the modern world, they sell lots and lots of different products. We've had them here in the studio, and they've got the new MC6115 grade, which is a CVD grade, but it's got this nano. I know it's a bit techie. It's got this nano coating, which basically makes everything more wear resistant and things. So it's faster speeds, increased tool life, better process rigidity, loads of chip breakers as well. So for the geeks out there that like CNC turning, go to the tech corner. Was it you, Tom, or Rowan?
Rowan.
And look at that video. It's a really, really interesting video.
I always wonder with like cutting tool technology, how far you can actually, how much further can you go? It's a bit like machines. We always talk about how much the next machine, I'm going to push it, that it's going to go a little bit quicker. It's going to go a little bit quicker. At what point do we get to a point with cutting tool technology where we go, that's it, we can't go any
I think
further?
it's carbide's carbide, isn't it? So it's all down to the coating.
Yeah, but it's coatings and it's.
That's what I mean. So coating,
I guess it's a
different
combination.
geometry of
It's
grinds.
strategy of machining as well. I guess.
There's a lot to carbide. So it comes out the ground in various forms. And then it goes off. Sometimes it's sold in powder form. Sometimes it's sold in carbide form. But it's not so much a carbide itself, but the binders within there holds it all together. There's a lot of science there. You used to have micrograin, then you had sub-micrograin. Now Mitsubishi, you've got this nanotechnology, which is, you're talking 1% and 2% gains, but added up over enough period of time. It's a lot.
Can you patent that?
Yeah, they will do. Yeah, they will do for sure. So you often see that in technology and cutting tools, whereas one client will patent it, but they run out, don't they? And some things you can't patent, but certainly coating technology you can. But that is, in terms of how far can carbide go, the gains used to be big step changes, where now they are the 1-2% gains. You won't see a big gain now until someone comes up with something like a new carbide, something that isn't carbide, it's discovered, I suppose.
Because I always remember when we went to Horn. Do you remember that time we went to Horn? And I remember seeing that's one cutting tool manufacturer I've been in, because most of the places I visited, machine tool builders and all the rest of it, I haven't been into many companies who are actually making cutting tools, and that was fascinating to step through and see that process, because they were pretty much doing everything there.
Wasn't it called Tubingen?
It was,
Where
yeah.
It was, yeah, I remember
It
that.
was where.
It's actually right next to the Mitsubishi plant.
Do you remember Do you remember getting on the bus in the morning?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
What? That was yes.
That was an absolute classic.
That was an absolute disaster.
Yeah, you didn't get up, did you?
No, because normally
First and only time in 13 years that's happened.
Ian knocked on your door and you were fast about Pete.
Couldn't believe it. Do you know what it was in my defence? Back in them days, you set your alarm on your iPhone like we all do.
Those days, it wasn't. We weren't in like the 19th century.
No,
Can we have a screen? Can
No,
we have
honestly,
like a swipe here where it makes it all go a bit grainy?
The true story is, I was one of the last to bed, but fine.
and one of the last up.
I was the last up. Everyone sat on the bus thinking Joe will be here in a minute, and I'm fast asleep still. And basically, what had happened, I'd set my alarms, and back in those days, when Apple did an update, it wiped all your alarms, and they've only changed that in the last 2 or 3 years. You know, Apple was.
Ian knocked on your door.
Yeah. So basically, it didn't. My phone just wiped itself of all the alarms. I'm just.
But I had an iPhone as well, and that
you obviously didn't do the update, did you?
That's true,
That was a true story.
Can I just say, when you say back in my days the first time, can we swipe to like a grainy filter, and then when you say it again, should we go back black and white?
Yeah.
How far are we going?
There was
Probably
something about
6 years, not long.
And the customer and everybody had bought into this joke, and it was fun. It was a fun moment. I remember it on the trip.
Not
I remember
particularly.
you getting on the bus and everyone was clapping. Later that day, that kind of came back to bite me because I know we stayed in that hotel that was right next to the airport.
Yeah.
And we travelled to it. I left the hotel room in the morning, got on the bus, we did the day filming. We went back to the airport, we sat down, we got some drinks. I don't know whether you remember. Sitting down, I went to get my laptop out and I hadn't got my laptop. I thought, oh no, where's my laptop? And I'd left my laptop plugged in the hotel room on the thingy. I totally forgot. Luckily, the hotel was literally, I walked from the airport back to the hotel, picked my laptop up and walked back to the airport.
That was lucky.
Yeah, I can't believe you don't remember
No,
that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, I've lost my laptop. And I thought, oh, how lucky is that? It's literally a couple of 100 yards away. And oh yes, Mr. Jones, it was in your room. Here it is. Right. Yeah, good trip that.
That was a really cool trip.
But it'd be interesting to see if there ever does become that edge for cutting tool.
Yeah, there's only so far you can push carbide. Yeah. You've got different binders.
I guess the wins will become more in the different operations you can do with the one tool. The strengths will become in the adaptability and the flexibility of the tool to cover a multitude of different applications, materials, parts and things like that, wouldn't it, to save the tool change times?
Yeah, the biggest change, when you're selling cutting tools, the biggest change is the human being saying, machine it this way. And 9 times out of 10, it's not because of the cutting tool, it's because they've come up with a better strategy. And obviously the people on the shop floor should feel obliged to buy tools from that person that's helped them save money, depending on what manufacturer you listen to. But cutting tools will never be more than 5% of your overall cost of making a part. It's quite often less than 1%. So really the price of the tools shouldn't come into it. It should be about the technology they offer you and more the support you offered, really. The technique, the sales guys, the application guys, that's where the true value in working with a cutting tool manufacturer is. Yeah, definitely.
Interesting one.
Yeah, we're going to try and make have a little get together. You look really scared.
Every time you start talking, you look straight at me. I feel like
Sorry.
I'm.
Sorry, Tom. We're going to try and do this every month, aren't we? Just to have a little bit of a catch up, talk about what we're up to.
The whole point of the MTD Uncut, isn't it? To cover all topics. Where we've been, what we're doing.
Yeah, have a little bit of fun along the way.
What's happening in the world of politics? We'll always
see if we can get any more eggy trouser stories.
Which they'll come out. Why not tell them?
Paul's got more visits to do, so I'm sure there's going to be something there.
Well, he's had a banana. He's had banana stories on in this week. So
this is what we need to do. This should be a theme of the Uncut podcast. Is a Paul Jones story to keep us going.
And the longer you're here, Tom, the more there'll be about you. We've had a lot. Joe Amos has been here a few years now, and he's got a few on him, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's
but I've sort of learned quite quickly to every time you tell me to do something, to do the opposite.
Do the opposite.
Yeah.
All part of the fun. Thomas.
And to Joff, who's our director for the show, it's if we can blur out the Liverpool shirt, it'll be very much appreciated.
Are they going to win it? Are they going to win at weekend?
Yes.
They're going to win at the weekend?
Yes, we're going to do what Forest couldn't.
Yes, actually, yeah. Or you couldn't do to Forest.
Forest, what a year they've had. Blimey neck.
Forest obviously drew with you, didn't they?
Yeah.
But
that's a question for top of the league. How is Arsenal going to fare against a a Man City that's sort of back on form.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really tough for us. I'll be there on Sunday. I'll be there to watch.
I am a bit jealous about that, by the way.
I'll be there. It'll be a great game. But I think that we will be lucky to come away. If I'm honest, it'll be really negative for Arsenal fans. They'll go, "How can he say that?" I think we'll be lucky to come away with a point. If I'm honest, I think we're lacking in that offensive area to be able to score goals, and then
you just need a striker now, don't you?
And we're a little bit
striker.
we do. We need an out-and-out striker. We're a little bit unbalanced. We've not had a great few games. We've scraped a few wins. The draw against Villa was just that was bad.
It was good for
sending
us,
off against Wolves. Did you see that sending off? I mean, how controversial was that?
Terrible.
That was just terrible. I was watching that on the internet. I was like, what the hell's going on there? That was a disastrous decision. Luckily, I was texting Andy Armstrong, who's a Wolves fan, during that.
No. Did he send you the thing?
What,
Sorry to jump in there just on Andy Armstrong. So when we went to Fanuc, I interviewed Andy.
Okay.
There's actually a piece in one of the interviews just for you.
Oh, right, okay.
And
that was before the Wolves game, though. You know?
Yeah. So there's an interesting
I'll look
story
forward
there.
to seeing that. But yeah, when he was like, "Don't worry, they'll win. They'll still beat Wolves," and we did. So in answer to your question, Tom, I think we'll struggle. I listen to Paul Merson a lot, he speaks a lot of sense, and I think it's 11 points at the moment. We're behind. Is it 11 or
10 or 11?
10 or 11. But if it gets to 12,
but don't forget, Liverpool's got double game week this week, so we will finally.
You got Everton.
Yes, so we will finally be on the same amount of games played.
Everton.
So that's when it'll become more interesting.
Isn't it the last ever one at Goodison? The last derby.
Actually, those
That's
two
the
games.
Yeah, but in your defence, if you look back, and I hope this is right, some guy I never really listen to most people on Facebook, but he's gone. In the last 9 attempts we've played, and we've only won like once. It's usually either a draw or a loss.
Yeah, at Goodison
Park.
I forgot you got that.
What do you think, Lindsay?
I just
Birmingham. Is it Birmingham?
Can I just say, Paul?
Uninterested.
Can I just say how quick Joe's changed the conversation before we ask about?
Well, I was going to say,
Man United.
If you want to know who's going to win the weekend, look at Chris Thomas's dream team, because we've got a inter-company dream team, and he won last year. Cost me £100. And this year he's top of the league again.
Yeah, but has he not changed his name yet? Because he's now called Chris Thomas 115.
And it's and the overall, which is available to everybody. I think there's 60 odd people in this group. Peaky Blinders are winning. Whoever Peaky Blinders are.
Do you want? Do we have to discuss this?
Reese Rothwell.
No, so we have an FPL internal MTD game. But we also have an open league MTD game. So
with other
we
people.
shared it out to LinkedIn, and we've got people from all
it's
different
a good place
companies.
to shout out for people to join that again.
Yeah.
Could I still? I was on it,
No,
and then
it's
I
too
got
late. You have
it's
to
too
begin
late
the
now.
season. Next year there'll be loads because you automatically opt in again. But
Yeah. So next year we'll try and get as many. And what we've said is whoever wins may end up with a goodie bag. So next season we'll try and get as many people into the FPL. And yeah.
So what are you doing at the weekend then, Lindsay?
No,
Before we
it's
wrap
all
this up?
right. No, we just need to wrap
Which
it
game
up
are you-
there.
which
You know
game
what
are you
makes
going
me
to
laugh?
watch?
Can I just say I'm not interested in football. Not anyway. But last night, what makes me laugh? Chloe and I are talking about eyelashes and our preferred type of eyelashes, and then you lot are all talking about football. So we just go quiet. In
I could do
moments like
eyelashes.
this.
Do you want to talk eyelashes?
No, I'm all right, thanks.
Please don't.
Yeah.
My missus is a beautician. I can talk eyelashes.
There
if
you go.
want.
Exactly.
Yeah. Eyelashes is just eyelashes, aren't they?
No, Paul, you've
Please
got
don't
no
say
idea.
that in a room.
got-
Like
we
you
haven't.
can talk about cutting tools and carbide. We can talk about eyelashes.
Well, I
so-
guess
No,
you're
whoa,
talking.
let's not do that when you said that. When we could talk it. No. I'm with these guys. I'm cutting tools.
I've got 2 daughters, and it's all this. Do you know what I mean? Is it like that when you?
do you know
I
what?
don't know,
We're
you get
doing
these-
a podcast
you get
and no
these
one can see
you
what
get
you're
these
doing.
like metal things that they put on the eyelashes.
Oh yeah, and
and
it
they
bends
do-
them. My daughter does that when she does my makeup when she's playing. She'll put it
But-
on. It hurts
What,
actually.
your daughter does your makeup?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right,
not-
Lindsay,
yeah.
I've had an idea. Next Uncut podcast, you two have got to allow your daughters to do your faces before you come in.
I'll show you a picture. How about that?
Yeah.
That's a
No.
good idea.
That
This
one.
is. I think for everyone at home, if you think that's a brilliant idea,
Yeah.
definitely write a comment below
There we go.
on whether
See
Paul
what
and Joe
we-
should
see
come
what
in.
response we get.
Yeah.
Should come in decorated by their daughters.
I'd rather come out with a full face of makeup and wear that top. So.
Oh, and I think we'll end on that one. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you next month.
Okay, thank you very much. See you guys.